Welcome back to another episode of Making the Rounds, where I tell you exactly what fights I think will go over or under certain round props. Most likely going to be over 1.5 is my favorite prop to bet on because I do have I have a nice knack for it. That's why I made this show. So without further ado, let's lock into it. No hot takes. We're looking for good takes. So right off the bat, Dvalishvili versus Yan part 2. Obviously, this is going to be good for the over round props, but damn, is it going to be chalky, man. I mean, I think it just has a high chance to go to the full fight, just go to decision. I mean, so I think Merab by decision is going to be even chalky, but I think that's good. His money line is fine as well. If you just want to go past that, it was actually really disappointing to see that over 2.5 was even really chalky too. I mean, I just hate props are like minus 1,000 and stuff like that. But yeah, I think, over 2.5 is fine. Starts round 3. Hell, even starts round 4 if you want to. If the odds are slightly better, but yeah, this is just no hot takes, guys. So over round prop's going to be easy for this. Merab Dvalishvili by decision is another one too. So just it's just a bad style matchup, realistic. So anyway, let's move on now. Go Pantoja versus Van. I think likely it's going to be a competitive fight, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if it went even to decision. But I do think that here, I think. If you saw my breakdowns, I think Pantoja does have a good chance to get a sub here. I mean, that's obviously the path to less resistance or least resistance. And I do think that as long as it stays on the feet, Van's got a shot, man. He's young. He's hungry, we're fans of both these guys. But I mean, Pantoja, man, if you saw my nice little highlight clip of him on Instagram and on YouTube, I mean, I'm obviously going for him. So I think over 1.5 should be totally fine for this one. I think Van should mind his P's and Q's. And they know he's going to have a ground game. I just think he should be working on his takedown defense. Try to at least try to not get taken down too easily, or at least try to work his way back up. Be defensively sound, at least enough to survive. But I wouldn't be surprised if Pantoja got a sub here. And I think over 1.5 rounds should be fine for this. Still, okay. Next one, another interesting one: Blachowicz versus Guskov. I mean, I think it's likely going to be a tactical kind of fight. So I expect some action maybe towards the middle of the fight or towards the end of the fight. Maybe you see some potential finish opportunities there, but I don't think the first round. I don't think even I think this should go more likely not over 1.5 rounds. It should be okay. Blachowicz, I think, he's going to use that championship mindset. And I've already mentioned this before, but he is obviously getting up in age there. I mean, 40 when you have the fight mileage on there. But at this heavier weight classes, lightweight, heavyweight, they typically can do fine at the higher age range because the power doesn't really go, and they also have the experience. They're not really relying as much on their fast twitch muscles and movement, and like the lighter weight classes are. You have to, once you get older in lighter weight classes, that the reflexes and the speed can kind of deteriorate after injuries and whatnot, and with age. So, but I think that power still holds. I think Blachowicz would be smart. Just use those leg kicks and get you and put in some grappling there too. Use some grappling to try to at least threaten it. I think it could. And he hasn't really been finished, really. I mean, it's just very rare for him. I don't really see. He could run this in a simulation. I don't think he gets knocked out early, at least anyway. And I think so. I think Jan is actually. Hey, he's got that Polish power. I think he's got a good experience to try to get a win here. And I think over 1.5 rounds should be fine for that. Moving on. Moreno versus Tyler, very high for this. It's an interesting one because if it was a 5-round fight, it'd be, maybe you'd have to kind of go with Moreno. I still like Tyler in this, and I think over 1.5 rounds should be fine. Tyler knows what he has to do. His bread and butter are going to have to do the grappling here. Moreno is no slouch himself, though. So that's why I think I don't see an early sub necessarily. I think Moreno should be wise enough to try to keep it, or rather try to be defensively sound, use his own grappling. But I do think he can get overconfident. He kind of gets hit. Tyra is still developing on the feet. Moreno is the better striker. I think over round complete game for MMA, I think he's better at this level because, I mean, he's just, former champ. He's been the who's who. Tyra is young, though, making improvements. His striking has been improving. He has a sneaky power, and I think he'll know, though, just keep the basics there, some kicks, do that nice long, he has a nice kind of good reach, he has a nice long jab, and he has some sneaky power, so I think he'll do that enough to where he can at least backpack, get the body triangle, try to beat up Moreno, try to suck out his energy a little bit, and maybe even go for a sub, but I think it's 3 rounds, so I think over 1.5 rounds hits more often than not, and I am high on Tyra, but I do understand if you like Moreno. I totally get it. I mean, these odds, though, I don't know. I think Tyra is, he's got to use his bread and butter and just try to, at least, I think it'll be competitive. And I could see this even going to decision. I mean, a 3-round fight, it's more likely to go to decision, maybe, just because the nature of their skill sets, right? I think, we could see some grappling, and if Tyler gets in trouble, could take it to there. Moreno probably wants to keep it on the feet, but he might get overzealous and get taken down a little bit. Anyway, it's an interesting fight, but yeah, over 1.5 rounds. Moving on, another one, interesting one. This one is interesting. Cejudo versus Talbot, man. Veteran versus prospect. Another one is very interesting. Just same as, we're seeing that kind of veteran versus prospect in this, and on this whole fight card. It's very interesting. But I think there should be a measured pace in the beginning. Cejudo he just really, doing that fake retirement, and just kind of, he could have had some good fights, been staying more active, and he just kind of, it's bad, man, especially when you're at that weight class. He was a flyweight, moved up to bantamweight, but he's even small for the bantamweight division, obviously, and it's tough. I think his movement is good though, as far as like karate, he uses movement to kind of, but it's striking wise. I mean, I think, look, Talbot's gonna be way bigger, he's younger, he has more power, and obviously, if you look at it, Cejudo has that wrestling skill, which Talbot is not gonna be able to meet that. After his loss to Randy Barcelos, he kind of learned and he improved his takedown defense, but there's only so much level. I mean, you're not going to be able to fill that wrestling gap. So Cejudo can use that, but I do think it's just, with this factor at this time, I mean, I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him to get Talbot down. I think Talbot's going to be wise to it. I could actually see Talbot trying to land a knee or maybe an uppercut, try to time it. And I think every time that Talbot, like I said, on the feet too, he can get his well. He kind of wants to wait. He kind of wants to look for something, look for that counter. But I do think Cejudo is not going to be able to hurt him enough to cause him trouble. Maybe he lands some shots, but as soon as he lands, Talbot use that to counter him. I do think it goes over 1.5 rounds more often than not, though. I think Cejudo should know, with his all his experience, his championship experience, and having that great wrestling background from the Olympics, he should know that, look, the path to least resistance is going to be grappling. Try to do that. Use his movement to try to jump in, jump out. Try to get a single leg. Try to at least kind of trip him up a little bit. Do something if you can get him against the cage too. But Talbot's probably going to use his size, his youth, and his developing MMA game to try to kind of reverse position on the cage. And I think, at least for the beginning, I think we could see some measured pace there. Talbot doesn't always land a lot of strikes in the beginning. So yeah, I think over 1.5 should win. And I think actually I got to take a go with Talbot here. I mean, if this was Cejudo, if we could go back in time and Cejudo was more in his prime and didn't do that foolish decision of retiring, and now he's retiring again. So this is the last fight. Usually if you're saying you're retiring, probably not going to go out and win. It's just how it is, man. A lot of red flags here. So, but yeah, over 1.5, and I think Talbot does take it. All right, enough of that. We need to move on. Vittori versus Ferreira, very interesting fight too. I mean, look, honestly, I think actually there's a couple I want to target here. There's a couple extra that I think that you can. I'm not as confident, but I think it should more often than not go over 1.5. Yeah, Vittori versus Ferreira, Barber versus Silva, and Dawson versus Torres. These have because look, we all share something in that there's grappling, control, and volume aspects that actually more often than not could take them to the distance, to decision, right? And Vittori versus Ferreira, I mean, we've already seen the memes. We already know Vittori is very durable. He has a grand chin. He's got cardio, but not as much power. Ferreira usually likes to finish it. He has a lot of power. It's just kind of what I mean? As they keep making the memes of an immovable force meets an unstoppable force. It's just which way is it going to go? I think typically that means that over 1.5 rounds should hit for that. Maybe a late finish, but yeah, it's a tough one, man. I think I was kind of on Ferreira in a way just because of damage. But I wouldn't be surprised if if Vittori takes it by a decision. Maybe he kind of survives. Vittori kind of he gasses out slightly, because he's trying to throw everything with the kitchen sink. Vittori's smart enough to survive, and then he goes later on, and then you start seeing halfway past, maybe after the 1.5 round kind of hits for us, then all of a sudden Vittori starts to take it over. Oh, wait a minute, now you're tired. Hey, I'm gonna start, trying to clinch you a little bit, land some, body shots on you. Just kind of grind out a decision, basically, probably. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Ferreira gets it either, because I was initially on Ferreira just because Ferreira can, he can actually land the more devastating shots. And when Vittori actually gets hurt, you kind of see him kind of turtle up, or it doesn't look good to the refs. When you actually are hitting him, he kind of turtles up and kind of tries to move his head. He looks really hurt. I think, and Ferreira, if he smells blood, he can really go for it. So it's a tough one. But I think over 1.5 rounds should hit more often than not. And like I said, Barber versus Silva, I mean, is what my friend, Elite Fight Bets, man. Jackie says, like, we made that parlay, which should have hit most of the time. Fear messed it up, but the piss break parlay, you know. This one, I just like, I think, Barber should take it just because of striking. I mean, Silva, she's kind of like sub or bust. I mean, I think on the feet, Barber's probably going to be aggressive, and she's going to do more. If she's going to do some takedowns, maybe more position over submission. So I think that she just has to watch out for Silva trying to, get the neck or, or lock in submission when she gets taken down or something. But yeah, more often than that, probably goes over 1.5. But I'm not like that excited about it. I think it's if you're going to put money on this, it's like just put over 1.5. Just use it to, get your drink break or your piss break or whatever, just because, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just, if we could see kind of like a sloppy back and forth fight. And yeah, it's strange. I mean, I think Barber should take it, but, who knows? It'd just be such a meme, like Silva just locks in a sub or something, And even it would be so annoying as over 1.5 doesn't hit for this, you see like an early stoppage because of his sub. But I think over 1.5 is fine for a parlay piece. If you want to put Barber in a separate parlay piece, maybe, but I would not be that confident in that at all. And if you want to if you did have that for some reason, you just want to be degenerate about it, you can even do a pre-hedge with Silva by sub just in case. All right, either like you play over 1.5 or you leave it. Or you think, I want degen bet, put Barber money line in an early action parlay, right? Something to get some early action on Barber plus someone else, plus another 1.5 or plus another fighter you're liking, one that I mentioned here, maybe in my past vids. And then you think, wait a minute, what am I doing? It's too degen. You see the odds on Silva by sub go up. Sprinkle on that. Do use your little calculator, man. Go onto Hedge Calculator. Just Google it. Or just sprinkle for fun. Anyway, that's enough of that. I'm not going to break down this fight anymore. Dawson versus Torres, like I said, it's interesting one. I think Torres is a good dog because of his power and everything. And Dawson, like after that Bobby Green fight, that King Green fight, man, I think he killed one of my parlays. Yeah, actually, I think he killed everyone's parlay. It's just Dawson, man, he has the wrestling, the grappling ability there. So if he's smart, he should take that. But if you're getting, your lights are getting put out by Bobby Green like that, Torres can really, really ruin your day, man. He can really put it on you. But I think, more often than not, I think Dawson should know. I'm just going to go, no more of that. He even said in interviews, actually, that he was trying to be more high pace, high action, and he paid for it. And he said he's going to be more composed. I think he's going to look for the wrestling right away. I think it should go over 1.5. But yeah, after that, who knows? Torres could actually take it. Maybe more damage, landing more damage, even get a possible KO. But yeah, I still am kind of favoring Dawson, but it's just a tough one. You can't be too confident on that guy, in this. But I think, yeah, 1.5 rounds should hit. And Torres is a good dog, good dog in the spot. Now here we are at the video. It's a good time to actually talk about fights that probably are not good to put over 1.5 rounds. So, or in other words, you want to fade that. You want to go, maybe fight doesn't go distance or under 2.5 or something, Hell, even over under 1.5, maybe if you want to be a little degenerate about it or if the odds are very good. I think, so obviously you have to look at that. Look, when we talk about fights that are not, you're not confident going over 1.5 or you're not confident going to decision, you think someone's going to get finished, it's obviously going to be, we're going to look for this. Explosive fighters, right? People that are, known for really explosive movements, for power, right? Or, of course, finish-oriented underdogs, if you want to put it that way. I guess I'm not sure how to really say that. I'm kind of like, look at my notes here, trying to think about how to talk about it. But yeah, I think, like Abdul Malik versus Tricoli, that's obviously kind of, I'll tell you, you might want to sprinkle the dog just because anyone could get finished in this. But I think that one doesn't go to the decision. I mean, Malik's going to take it. He's a minus 2,000 or something right now, right? Minus 1,200 or something. But he's probably going to finish him in the first round, right? So that one, if you could just go, under 2.5 rounds for that. McKinney versus Duncan, but awesome fight. Obviously, I like McKinney. If you saw my McKinney highlight, it's good. He even shared that stuff. Shout out to McKinney, man. He's always nice to fans. But yeah, I made an edit of him, and I think, I get it. Duncan being a favorite, I get it. he's durable, he's tough, he's gonna take it. But if you don't get him out, look at the Daniel Caceres series when he fought the Cannibal. He, is getting everything but the kitchen sink thrown at him. He got rocked, he got an uppercut, but it doesn't matter because if you blow your load, pause, on trying to finish him, he's gonna finish you. Double pause, damn. But yeah, I just think, but I still think McKinney's, he's dangerous on the ground as well. And I think this one under 2.5, even McKinney as a dog is a good sprinkle. At this, when you have odds like this, McKinney's kill or be killed, right? He's a fan favorite for a reason, man. We all like to watch him. But I think that one's good. Even McKinney by KO, hell, Kenny in the first round or Kenny in the second round, sprinkle on those, that's good. I'm giving you some money right now. Anyway, Another one, Barnowski versus Aslan. That's another one too where I don't think it goes over 1.5 rounds. Probably gonna see it, finish coming in here. So might want to sprinkle on the dog or just go fight doesn't go distance or under 2.5 rounds. Depending on the odds. So I think that's gonna wrap it up for me, guys. Like, let me know what you're liking, what you're fading, and let's get some money. Remember to sub and like and all that. If you made it to this part of the video, you're a real one. And yeah, just like, sub, all that good stuff. Comment. I'm putting this stuff out for free every single week, and we're gonna just keep killing it, man.